Hey everybody, thanks for watching the East Village Queer Film Festival presented by the Weld Project. You just finished watching our feature film presentation of Drawn Back Home. My name is Anthony Chapman, and I'll be moderating the Q&A tonight with several of the film's creators. I'm very happy tonight to be joined by the Drawn Back Home director and writer, Thomas Awrey, Paul Michael Thompson, who stars in the film, Nikki O'Sullivan, who also stars in the film, Grace Pederson, the producer, Sean Campbell, the director of photography, and Jocks von Liria, the head of hair and makeup. So welcome everybody. I think I got everybody in that list, didn't I? Yes, great. Yeah. First of all, congratulations. I understand you had your world premiere last week in Chicago at Reeling. I saw it at Reeling, so I did not get to see your Q&A, so I'm not cheating. But I did have the chance to watch your film a couple of times, once with Reeling and once through the East Village Queer Film Festival. So again, congratulations on your world premiere. I know it's a really strange time to be premiering a film right now and doing these odd Q&As, but I'm really happy to be here with you, and thanks so much for your work. And thank you to the East Village Queer Film Festival for programming you guys. I'm a gay kid from the South. I grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas. I live in New York now. I've been home quite a few times, not for a love interest, but for funerals, I would say. It's a little weird to go back home. So the first question is for you, Thomas, and what really inspired the story and why did you want to tell this in a feature?
Thank you. Great question. So I have, for a very long time, wanted to create a kind of gay romance feature that would have kind of a positive message. I've seen a ton of films that, and they're all stories that need to be told, but I just really wanted something that was going to be aspirational that I could watch that would just kind of give a lot of warmth and give a lot of kind of passion behind it and whatnot. My parents actually live in a northern Michigan town that they moved up there probably around 10 years ago, and it was a smaller town, and they just immediately accepted my parents, and they've just been incredibly wonderful up there. But there was kind of this feeling that I had that, would I as a gay man go up there and be as warmly accepted, or, like would it cause problems for my family? So I didn't know exactly what was going to happen. But in going up there, everyone just was incredibly wonderful, and they were like, oh, you're like Tom and Pam's son, that's so great, like we love you, like what are you doing, are you in Chicago, that's amazing. And they just were so incredibly warm, and it just gave me this moment to think, like, what if we all could be like that? What if it really was that idea of, I take care of you, you take care of me. And I just really wanted to try and convey that in a film to give that feeling to people. So
Great. And for the other members of the cast and crew, were there any specific things that drew you to the script or that drew you to the story? Anything that you related to that you felt really strongly about? We'll start with you, Grace, since you produced.
Thanks. I think that I also grew up in a small town in Michigan, and I feel like the town that I grew up in was fairly well receiving of as diverse of backgrounds as we had. Not that there was a whole lot, but as a queer kid there growing up, I had enough support to see me through. And yes, I have now moved to Chicago, but that was honestly all to do with my wife, who I met here and moved here to be with her, and not because I felt rejected from the town. So, I feel like I could see both sides of both Drew and Eric's stories of staying put and leaving, and how it's like, hopefully for people can be a personal choice as opposed to a need or a have to because of social situations.
And Sean, how did you get involved in the project?
Oddly enough, I feel like if you were to ask TJ how I got involved in the project, he would tell the story that he was at a restaurant, kind of jokingly talking to the waitress that is like, hey, do you know a director of cinematography? Because he didn't know anybody at the time, and the waitress just so happened to know me, and that's how we ended up connecting. And I think to answer your question earlier about if anything in particular kind of drew me to the nature of the story, I'd say it was more or less TJ's intensity and passion for the project. He might disagree, but I don't know. I think he brought a lot of. I could tell that he poured a lot of time and energy into it. And then also, I'm a straight male, so coming into this, it provides me a different type of challenge to portray gay men, interacting with one another. So that was like a challenge of drama and emotion that I was interested in tackling to be able to capture on screen.
And how about Jocks? You're muted, Jocks.
Sorry, yep, I was. Well, my story is the opposite of Grace and Thomas. I mean, I had probably the worst parents when it comes to being a gay man, and I have like zero support. And I felt very identified in the movie. I had to run away from my city and from my country because of that. So it was very touching in a lot of things. When I was working in the movie, I applied for a job. I saw there was a job opening for the movie, and then once I read the script, I remember that I was telling my partner that this is kind of close, and I took it as a personal project that I wanted to participate, because I know that now there is a lot of people that are very accepting with their parents and they have everything very easy, but there is a lot of gay men that they don't, and that there's a lot of gay men that they have to run away to a big city, and that's okay too. So it was kind of touching for me, and I remember the first time that I watched the full film with my husband, that we were both crying, and I was like, this touches a lot of things, and not all have to be positive. It was a wake up moment for me to say, like, I feel very identified with a lot of things in this film, and I was actually very glad that I got chosen to do it.
Great. And Paul and Mickey, how was this for you guys, being in this sort of I thought it was going to be like a bitter love triangle at the beginning with the other character, and she clearly was kind of moving you towards one another, which I thought was very interesting and an interesting choice and really beautiful. So how was it working together? I think that you guys had the most screen time and probably the most conflict, as well as the most intimacy. So can you share with me what that was like?
Sure. It was so great to do a film by queer people for queer people. I think that what TJ said about the aspirational messages of this show can't be understated. So often as queer folks, we are only relegated to stories about our trauma, and I think those stories are incredibly important to share so that mainstream majority culture understands our experiences. But I also think that we deserve to have romantic comedies just like everybody else. And I remember reading the script and meeting with TJ about it. And sometimes you just read a role and you're like, yeah, I can do this. And, I know that that the things that are in this role that this role needs, I'm able to provide those things. And it's serendipitous, and it feels like you're in synchronicity with the writing. And I remember feeling that when I read the script for the first time. And then I got to read with Mickey at our call back, and I thought he was so charming and so, he's like a big burly guy. He does CrossFit, but he has such a huge heart. And he was so polite and compassionate, and never assumed familiarity or crossed any boundaries. And I felt very safe with him.
That makes me so happy because I feel the same way about you. I think sometimes as an actor, it can become kind of routine to get a script, read it, go and audition, um, go to a callback. And the way that we hosted our callbacks was a little bit different for me. I don't remember in a film setting, being able to forget that the camera is there and just focus on a scene partner. And typically you're reading with an intern or something like that. And I was trying to figure out how I connected, and I realized it's a love story. And I think that we need more love stories, especially ones where we find people who are separated and in a dark or kind of cold place in their life, and they're brought to warmth through another person. And what a terrific opportunity to explore that story and explore that genre with such an awesome team. So that was me.
And Thomas, you said earlier that this was really meant to be aspirational, and was there ever any draft that had a homophobic kind of tone when the character of Drew returns to the small town? Was there ever any conflict there, or was it always people welcomed him back in a positive way, except for Eric, of course? But
so it's one of the main things that I wanted to do when I had this film was to kind of show what we could be. And I just knew that, like, if I put any of that in there of, kind of people being like, get out of here, we don't want you. Mm-hmm. It would have taken away from me kind of what I was going for. It really, I can't really kind of state it enough how much it meant to me that my parents' town kind of accepted me, because the original town that I grew up in was like the southeastern Michigan suburb that was not great, like, at all. And so it was just kind of this moment where, like, I do feel that I have a home in Chicago, but to go visit my parents and know that I'm accepted there just means the world to me. And so from the very first moment that I wrote this, I was like, I don't want this to be in any way about, like a town against a person. I want it to be this idea of, like, people getting in their own way. And, what does it mean when everyone really does take a moment to be empathetic to the people around them and to kind of try and just build something with the people that they care about. And so that was kind of the focus.
Cool. Okay. Now let's talk about the pumpkin spice latte tone of the film. It was really beautifully shot. That fall feeling really got captured. And a lot of the, just in every department, it was really strong. So when did you shoot, and how long did it take to shoot? Can you break that down a little bit for us? For this question more for Thomas and Grace. Oh, and also Sean, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, Grace, by the way, is one of the most phenomenal people I've ever worked with in my life. She's an amazing producer. She had everything down pat. We've actually known each other for quite a while, but this was it was my first feature, and I was like, you know what, hey, do you want to come on this crazy journey with me? And I'm so thankful that she said yes. I'll let her kind of talk about kind of the towns itself, but we spent a lot of time trying to find a place that would resemble Northern Michigan, because the other choice was kidnapping people for 10 days and taking them to, like, my parents' town, and I did not think that was going to go well. But I do also have to say that Sean Campbell is a phenomenal cinematographer and director of photography. And it sounded a little glib earlier with, like, our kind of meeting, but after I saw his work, I was like, this is the person. This is the person who's going to be able to actually capture what we need. And I just absolutely fell in love with kind of the work that I'd seen before. And he did a phenomenal job with this. But as for the town itself, Grace was a rock star going and just making all the connections. So I'll put it over to her.
I just want to say I'm really glad, Anthony, that you pointed that out. And I have friends who've seen the film now, and they just kept talking about the beautiful nature shots. And they're like, oh, look at those trees. Oh, those are so pretty. And that was definitely some movie magic. Our actors and Jocks will definitely attest that it was hot when we were shooting. It was autumn. Technically, it was like the very beginning of autumn last year. We started shooting like September 20th or something like that. But there was all of these heat waves, and we were making Mickey put on a Carhartt coat to go out in 80 degrees and shoot, and then Jocks had to keep patting him down and reapplying stuff. So there was lots and lots of movie magic, and the fact that you specifically said it looked very fallish is just music to my ears, because it was very stressful while we were shooting it to make sure that it could possibly look a little bit autumnal.
Cool. And Sean, did you have any tricks up your sleeve for that?
I have the only thing that like sticks out of my mind is that typically summer heat usually comes with like direct lighting, harsh shadows. So in any given scenario, I tried to make sure that like we were going to be shooting in the shade or had some sort of overcast in which the light was even. There was some shots in there where we really couldn't avoid much of anything, but I mean, I'd say that could qualify as an answer. Like after seeing it myself, it does look very fall-like, which I'm very happy with. And I also forgot that I had this big sun hat that I would wear on all the shoot days anytime we're out. So I had like this giant shade. I'll see if I can find a photo later.
And Paul and Mickey, the cast was great. You guys were wonderful, and also the supporting cast was so strong. I really enjoyed all of the performances. But with you guys, what was it like kind of getting to know each other? Like you had to be best friends from high school. I mean, you had years and years and years of history, plus that break. So how did you prepare for that? Was there anything specific that you did to kind of work that through?
We talk together, Paul?
Yeah, we should talk at the same time.
Yes, that would be like the debate. So we called back together, and then we didn't see each other again until the first day.
Well, and of course I was like, who's this straight person at this gay callback? I think he was like talking about his fiance and was like, she's so beautiful. And I was like, oh, give me a break with these straighties in my... Because there's such this history of straight men playing gay roles, and it makes me absolutely insane. But boy, if I had to pick one, I would pick Mickey 10,000 times over. I really would.
And so the responsibility that I felt very much was that I was going to be the most prepared and open actor, because I felt like this was my opportunity to learn as much as possible. And I couldn't have asked for a better person than Paul Michael. Paul Michael was also doing a play that night, a very intense physical performance. And so the first day we shot, I think, 4 or 5 scenes together. And then we shot the makeout scene in the first day, correct?
Wow.
And I think there's a lot of conversation in the theater world and in the film and television world about what it means to be intimate on camera and how that process works for actors. And more we're learning different strategies to make sure that everyone feels safe and comfortable. And I couldn't have asked for a better partner in that. We spent a lot of time running lines together, and it never felt pressured or like we were trying to mimic, or not even mimic, but recreate what we had just rehearsed or anything. It felt very open and free, and I don't think I've ever laughed so much.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
You're hilarious.
Yeah, our senses of humor seemed to line up really well, which is always a great way to make friends. We also shared a lot about, we talked about Mickey growing up in that suburb, and we're both Irish, and what that meant for us.
What do you want with Eric, Drew? It's been what, 10 years since you left and cut off all communication, and now you're in town for a business trip?
I never meant to leave the way that I did.
No, you didn't, because you left. I got married and divorced, and you weren't there for any of it, and it fucking pisses me off how much I missed you.
So please, is there any one thing that you would like to say to the audience about the film or about the theme of the film, or what you want the audience to take away from this experience. And we'll start with Jocks. Put you on the spot first.
Okay. Well, I will say that this is definitely a movie to see it with a bag of tissues. And it's also a movie that's going to make you laugh. And it's a very inspiring movie. It's a project that we all work with a lot of love and a lot of passion. And I think it kind of reflects on like the final product.
Sweet. Sean, we'll go to you next.
Oh man, I feel like I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna piggyback on what Jack said. I think all the stuff that's in the film, yeah, but I think if not watching it for the content of the film, I think I kind of want you to watch it because I had fun making it. I enjoyed myself on set, and that's not you don't really get that a whole lot in this industry. Sometimes you can work on projects that you're kind of like, this kind of sucks, but this project, I had a lot of fun. And so I feel like you should watch it because we had fun.
Cool. Grace?
I'm gonna recognize that I'm a she, her here. She, her here. And I just really want people to recognize the great contribution of the women in this film. The actresses that we had in supporting roles, but did amazing jobs in all those supporting roles, from our, one day actress of Jennifer Jelsma to, the great pillars of the community in Claire Cooney playing Sarah and Paula England playing Carol.
Cool. And how about Mickey?
This is a film about what could happen when you're feeling like you're maybe at bottom, and what can happen if you reconnect with a part of yourself and you kind of take a risk.
Cool. How about you, Paul?
I was just going to say that I would love people to think about, and we're so grateful that we are at this queer film festival, think about all the trailblazers that had to come before us so that a film that is aspirational like this could even be made. Think about how far our community has come as queer folks, and remember that, we fought for all of those rights, and that means they could be taken away. So please vote. That's what I would say.
Cool. And Thomas, you're last.
I'm going to also second and say, please vote, please. We need to get out there and just kind of make our voices heard. But I also just want to say that it was an incredible pleasure to work with everyone on this film. It has been one of the best moments of my life, and you guys are all amazing. So thank you so much for just kind of bringing this together. I set out to do this to kind of just try and put a little love out into the world. And I just really want people to, when they see it, get a sense of, it doesn't matter if it's found family, it doesn't matter if it's immediate family, whoever you are connected to, just go and hold them close and just let them know that you care, because we're all in this together. So
cool. So the last question that I have is for any new projects or upcoming projects, and if you guys can be brief in your answers, and also let us know on social media how to find you and how to track you. We'll start with Sean. Anything?
Yeah, I'll keep it brief. Just with the pandemic, a lot of things have just been kind of put on hold. I'm working on a lot of personal projects right now, just trying to crank those out. I am doing a documentary on a restoration of my Land Rover. I said this in the last Q&A, but you can find me at Working Anchor or at Working Axle on Instagram. Those are my handles, and I put out a lot of film-based kind of content over there. So if you're interested.
Cool. Jocks, does your cat have an Instagram?
That is correct. My cat has an Instagram. Yes, it's I am Frida Caro. But I am about to head to New York. I'm about to do my first movie after the COVID.
Wow.
So I'm going to be in Rochester, New York for 4 weeks.
All right, get your spacesuit ready.
I know.
Thomas, what about you?
All my kind of attention is focused on this film, but you can follow us at Drawn Back Home 2020. Is that correct, Grace? Sorry, on Instagram. Yep, cool. And
I
yeah,
think it's just Drawn Back 2020.
Drawn Back 2020 or Drawn Back Home. I don't know. Well, it's whatever it is, it'll be wonderful. But thank
You
you very
should
much.
draw back 2020.
And Mickey?
I have a bunch of projects coming out this month. There's a movie that came out today called Hunter's Creed. That's all over. It's DVD, digital, on demand, all that. There's a really nice short film that's making the rounds at festivals. That is, oh God, now I'm rushing and I can't even think of the movies that I'm in. You can find me on Instagram at the Mickey O'Sullivan.
I run and helped found a theater company here in Chicago. You can find us at The Story Theater, thestorytheater.org. And also, you know, just recognizing all of us creatives are freelance workers, right? So this pandemic has been incredibly hard on us, and we don't have employers to have our backs, so we have to have each other's backs, and just want to make sure, you know, we recognize the realities of the world we're still in.
Cool. How about you, Grace?
I was going to pass to save time, so never mind.
I'll
Keep it a low
reclaim her
profile.
time. I have a movie, there's a web series out right now called All American Sex Offender. The short film is called Everything's Fine. And I have another film that's trying to figure out a way to be on Vimeo without ruining their festival stuff, called Driftless. And then a movie coming out at the end of the month called The Misadventures of Mistress Maneater. So check them out.
Cool. And congratulations again to all of you, and again on your world premiere last week in Chicago at Reeling. That's great. So that is going to wrap up tonight's Q&A. Thanks again to all the filmmakers, and thanks to the audience for watching. You can catch the rest of the festival, which continues through this Sunday, October 11th, by visiting our website at thewildproject.org. So thanks a lot again. And, good
Thank
night.
you. Hope to see you next year. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.